Right, so with regard to our relationship with God, there's these 4 things that we need to look at with truth, and there's 4 things that we need to look at with love. And they're mentioned in the outline. So what's the first one? This is under the second heading. Feelings that prevent a relationship with God.
Not wanting to feel the truth about God from your own perspective.
Alright, so the first one was not wanting to feel. I don't want to write it all down. You've got it in front of you. The truth about God from your own perspective. How many of you are really angry with God? Far more of you need to be putting up your hand, because many of you are far more angry with God than what you're admitting. All right. And we'll go into some of that emotion later, right? If I don't admit to myself the truth about how I'm feeling about God, don't you think God knows that? Don't you think God knows how you really feel about God anyway? So if you're going to connect with God, don't you think you're going to need to be truthful at least about that one thing?
But we're small fries, aren't we? Do we have a right to be angry?
You just mentioned 2 reasons to be angry with God.
I put my hand up.
Yeah. Small fry and don't have a right.
Do I have a right?
Do I have a right to say anything about God? Do I have a right to be angry with God?
Yeah.
Do you?
That's my question.
What's the truth from God's perspective? Do you have a right to be angry with God?
Yes.
I did ask you whether you had the free will to be angry with God. Do you have a right to be angry with your next door neighbour? So why would you have a right to be angry with God?
Okay, so how do you reconcile the two?
Well, yeah, don't misquote me now. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to feel that feeling. What I'm saying is that if you feel you've got a right to be angry with God, then already that's an error. Do you follow me? There's an error that there was something you need to feel.
So we're judging God.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of things with God. And in reality, when we have that feel, we have that right, there are certain emotions inside of ourselves that we're not willing to release. When you feel right and you want another person to be wrong, and you're willing to be angry with them for not taking on your viewpoint, you are already in error, are you not? Yeah. But I'm not saying don't feel it. I'm saying understand that me even being angry with God is an error. But I'm allowed to feel that. Do you follow me? And in fact, I need to feel that to release it. It's the only way I'm going to be able to feel it, is to feel it and then it will be gone. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, what's the next thing?
I wanted to feel the truth about God from God's perspective.
Exactly, and that's what we just covered just now, wasn't it? The truth about God from God's perspective is that you've got no right to be angry with whatsoever. He did everything beautifully for you. And you've just stuffed it up. Now, it might not be you that stuffed it up. It might be your family, your parents. It might be all these emotional, but it's still mankind that stuffed it up. When I say stuffed it up, all they did was they chose to use their free will in disharmony with love. And that's what causes everything to stuff up. So that's God's truth. But see, can you see the difference between my needing to see my own truth too? I need to admit to myself, I am angry with God. I am upset with God. I do feel what God has done is unjust. I do feel that it was unkind. I feel like a little pawn being manipulated by God. If these are the feelings you feel, you need to be honest with those feelings, don't you? But you also need to see that no, obviously God, if God's in a state of love and truth, then God obviously isn't the things I imagine God to be. I need to see that truth too. Now that doesn't mean that I take away from the emotions. I need to still experience the emotions. What's next? So not wanting to feel the truth about yourself from your own perspective. In other words, let's say I know I'm angry with God, but then I choose to not feel my anger with God because I have this belief that I'm wrong if I feel angry with God. Right? And I feel that I'm not allowed to express my anger. What does God want you to do from your emotional perspective? To express all of your emotion. That's what God wants. That's how God made you. Right? So even if you're angry with God, you need to allow yourself to express it, even if you know that it's wrong. It's okay. Express it. Get into it. Really feel it. Really feel the personal truth of it. You're allowed to do that. What's next? And this is a major area that most of us resist. The area most of us resist is we do not want to look at the truth from God's perspective. We only want to look at the truth about ourselves emotionally from our own perspective. So can you understand that growing towards God is going to be firstly focusing on what truth I need to feel within myself emotionally, but it also is very much revolving around the importance of connecting to what God's truth is as well, because God's truth needs to enter me emotionally if I'm going to become at one with God. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. What about love? Not wanting to love others. Who feels that you've just given so much love in the past and you're just so exhausted with it that you just don't want to do it anymore? Right? Be honest. It's fine to be honest, right? Yeah, I feel that. So there's a feeling inside that I don't want to love somebody else really coming from that, isn't there? Or what's the next one? Now, isn't that a big one? But a lot of times we reject love. Why? Because we don't trust it. It makes us vulnerable. We think it's going to hurt us. We don't feel worthy. Okay. Don't even know what it is. Yeah. Does that make sense? What's next? Yeah. If I'm angry with God, do I want to love God? No. Obviously not. Because I'm angry. How can you love someone you're angry with, really? At that instant. You can't, can you? While the anger is in you, you're not loving. That anger has to leave you before you become loving. Doesn't it? And what's the next one? And that's one of the biggest ones. A lot of people do not want to connect with God. They don't want to receive God's love. What's the main reason do you think that would be? Unworthiness. Big, big thing. What other reasons might there be? Fear?
Yes, I suppose I'm afraid that me is just going to be totally swallowed up.
A lot of people feel that. A lot of people feel that if they receive God's love, their own personality is just going to disappear and they'll become some godlike robot thing, right? That just does the same thing over and over again, just like the other godlike robots do.
It's sort of intellectually, it's sort of not right.
Don't go there even at that point. You don't need to go there yet. All you need to feel is that emotion, right? And a lot of us feel that, don't we? That we're going to be swallowed up by God. But actually, that's not a truth, but it's something we do believe within ourselves.
It's also that wrathful, like you don't love me, I'm going to condemn you to hell.
Exactly. So we feel that God's going to be wrathful with us or angry with us, punishing God.
And it's going to bring up everything in us that isn't love.
Yeah, and who wants that, eh? Yeah. We don't want to do that. No. No. So can you see there's a lot of reasons why we would resist God's love? Lots of reasons, isn't there?